start off the base of this design, I used Kryvaline Creamy Fluorescent Yellow because I wanted all of the colors to be really bright and vibrant, and I applied that all around my eye and on the lid of my eye. Graffiti is all about lots of colors, lots of patterns, and lots of layers. So for my first layer, I'm ending the edges with this really cool paint splatter stencil, which, as I'm sure you know, is one of my favorites. Wherever the color ends, I'm extending it with this stencil. For the next layer, I'm using a mixture of neon orange and a regular orange and this like cross-stitch looking stencil, and I'm putting that on the temple and then also right on my cheekbone, on my eyelid, and right above my eyebrow. And using two colors on the same sponge with stencils always gives a really good dimension. For my last layer of the base, I'm using the Kryvaline Creamy Fluorescent Pink, which is beautiful. I love it. And I found a pattern in the stars that fit perfectly with my eyebrow. So I'm putting that right below my eyebrow. And it was just the perfect shape. And then after that, I'm putting it all around the rest of the design, overlapping any previous stenciling done. For A-types like me, this could be difficult because I like really clean and crisp looks, but it actually gives a really cool effect if you could get past that. Now it's time to get started with the lettering. If you are in a hurry, or if you have a long name, you don't have to go to the extent that I did. You could just do this basic lettering like you see me doing here and end there. But to start with the block lettering, you basically need to outline the shape, which is what I'm doing here. I'm just doing the basic shape and then I will work around it. So I put my letters down and I'm going to fatten them up and add interest to them at this point. I'm using the Kryvaline Creamy Teal to do this, to add all the different shapes and dimension, but like I said, you can always stop at the very beginning where you just do the quick graffiti letters, and kids will be very happy with that, and it's fast. I wanted to add some more color and interest, so I'm flicking some lime green, this is Kryvaline regular lime green, into the teal, and this will brighten it up and make it look really cool. Just make sure that your paint is very sticky and dry, because too wet of paint won't give that effect and won't give a shading effect, but dry sticky paint will shade on its own really nicely. And finally, to finish the coloring of these letters off, I'm using my favorite color ever, which is the Kryvaline Creamy Magenta, and I'm making like a dripping effect on the top of all the letters. So do a little line and just the tip of your brush, pull it down, wiggle it, press it. It's very, very easy to do. It doesn't have to be neat. The messier the better. It's a super fun and easy technique. Just make sure to work on the very tip of your brush. If you have a hard time, you can use a smaller brush, but the big one worked great for me. And always keep it on the very top of your letters. Also, I realized that my letters are backwards. I'm sorry about that. I had to look in a mirror when I was painting them. I'm pretty good at painting on myself, but not that good. I painted on the outline with the Kryvaline black and a low Cornell number 2 brush. So a nice thin brush is great for this to give you a lot of control. And painting shadows on these letters makes all the difference in the world. So think about where your light source is, where you want your shadows to be, and make sure to paint on those shadows, and it'll give them so much more pop and a 3-dimension-like quality. So as you can see here, I'm just painting on my shadow on the right side of each letter. When you're painting on your shadows, make sure to go down at an angle. So as you can see here, I kind of go at an angle and then fill in my shadows. And that'll make it look more realistic. Always work on the tip of your brush and try to keep your lines nice and straight and clean. Last step is the highlighting, and this is what's really going to make it pop. Go to any place where you think the light would be hitting, which would be the top portion of any part of your letter, and just do a thin white line Press down and flick up so that all of your highlights end in a nice point. Finally, make the letters look like they're sparkling and shiny by adding starburst here and there. I love the cute and quirky and fun graffiti style, so I just had to add like a little creature into my design. That's my favorite part of graffiti, are the fun little creatures. So I used teal, and I just did the head and the ears, highlighted in lime green, and then dabbed on some big white eyes. Make sure to highlight your little creature as well. Any high points of the design, just add quick white flicks. And finally, outline him, and this is always a tricky part to outline on myself. It's hard to see what I'm doing, but remember to work on the edge of your brush so that your line is nice and thin and clean. Last but not least, add the pupils of the eyes and a small nose. To tie it all together and add yet another layer, I wanted to put some black stars on my background as well. When you stencil on black, make sure that your sponge is super duper dry. Black is such a strong color, and you can easily ruin your entire design with a 2-out of sponge and a bleeding stencil. And that's it. Please check me out on Facebook. The link to that, along with all of the products I used in this video, is listed below. Have a great day.